Hey guys, today I'm reviewing the Ordinary foundations. I have purchased one, which is the Serum foundation, and then I received a sample of the Coverage foundation from a friend in the US. And I filmed a wear test on both of these. I tried them out for quite a while and then filmed a wear test to let you know my thoughts. Before I show you both of those, I thought I would just tell you a little bit about the foundations. So I placed an order for the Serum Foundation in 1.0N on January 8th. It cost $6.70 plus $4.99 shipping. Shipping is free over $25. I received a shipping notice on January 19th and it arrived on January 22nd. The Serum Foundation and the Coverage Foundation are both alcohol-free, oil-free, nut-free, vegan, gluten-free, soy-free, cruelty-free. The Serum Foundation is semi-matte, compatible with most primers, and designed to work with the Ordinary primers. Now, I had a not so good experience with one of the Ordinary primers. It was the one in the little dropper, not the one in the squeeze tube. And it made my skin very, very itchy and kind of irritated. So that was my first experience with the Ordinary. And usually when you try a brand and the first thing that happens is it makes you irritated, you're kind of hesitant to try anything from them again. So it took me a while before I tried any other products. The second thing I tried was the hyaluronic acid serum, and I do enjoy that. And then this is my third product from them. Both of these foundations are silicone based, and then for the Coverage foundation it's supposed to be full coverage, of course, that's why it's called the Coverage foundation, and it's supposed to be lightweight, non-oily texture cream finish that doesn't emphasize any lines or provide a cakey finish. And well, I have a favorite between these two, let's just put it that way. I'm going to get into the wear tests, and when we come back from those, I'll talk a little bit more about them, anything I might have left out.
So here I'm showing you a demo and wear test of the Ordinary Serum Foundation in the color 1.0N. This is a very liquidy foundation and you're supposed to shake it before using it, so I did. And I'm putting about one pump on the back of my hand here, as you can see. And consistency wise, this is very runny, almost exactly like the NYX Total Control drops, but as you can see here, this is a warm yellow, whereas the NYX Total Control drops in Pale are a very cool yellow. But because these are both very low coverage foundations, I don't really find that makes a difference. After putting that amount on my face, I still had quite a bit left on my hand before I went in with the sponge, and again, this is a damp sponge, and this foundation blends out really well. I do have normal skin right now, which is pretty lucky considering how much heat I've had blowing on me the last few days. Our heater blew, and I've had a space heater on in my room the whole time. And yeah, my skin's held up pretty well. I actually do have some dry, crusty pimples around my mouth and jaw area. This doesn't cling to those at all. It blends over any area really well. So if you have dry skin, this will work really well for you. And if you have oily skin, I think this will work equally well because this actually is a matte foundation. It just doesn't cling to dryness or any areas like that, but at the same time it is matte and doesn't bring out any oil. I'm adding about half a pump for the rest of my face. So here I'm using the Real Techniques Expert Face Brush. I find that this does an equally competent job at blending this foundation as a sponge. Each side looks about equal in terms of blendability and seamlessness in the skin. I find that if you want to use a brush or a sponge, you'll be fine with this. I think because it is such a liquidy foundation, it just blends into the skin really well. I'm blending this down my neck because it is quite a yellow foundation on me, and even though it is quite thin, it does look a little bit noticeable on me. Color-wise, I don't think that it's too dark, I think it's just too yellow. If it was a fuller coverage foundation, it might stand out as being a little bit too dark, but because it is quite low coverage, on me, I noticed that it's mostly just yellow. So I've zoomed you guys in a bit, and here's the brush side of the face. It is a soft matte finish. It's definitely not super luminous, but it's also not super matte. And here is the sponge side of the face, and to me, these both look equally nice. I think that you could get away with this with a lot of different skin types. So this is 8 hours later, and I brought you in very close to show you that this is worn pretty well. It doesn't need to be set, but it does kind of emphasize this line around my mouth a lot throughout the day. And it did grab a little bit of a spot around my nose here. The rest of my face looks really nice. It didn't transfer anywhere, and I did get my hair cut, so there was some scraping of a comb around my face and stuff. And so if you see any small hairs, it's just from my haircut. But yeah, the rest of my face looks really nice. Without having set anywhere throughout the day, I feel like it wore really nicely. And that's about it. Now we're doing a wear test on the Coverage Foundation in 1.0N. As you can see here, the consistency is a lot thicker than the Serum foundation. I'm taking the damp sponge to blend out this side of my face, and this foundation works a lot better with the sponge than it does with the brush, although it still has a little bit of trouble blending out with the sponge. When I get to this area specifically is where I really start to notice that it's really textured, and I'm not sure why. I don't have a lot of texture on my upper lip or nose area, but it really just shows almost like a scaly patch that's not even necessarily dry. It just looks scaly and textured, and it just doesn't blend well. And the forehead blending out looks really cakey. Again, not necessarily dry, just cakey, and if you couldn't tell, I'm not a fan of this formula. Now I have one side of my face done versus the other. Techniques brush, and this is where it gets way worse, because trying to blend this foundation out with a brush, you can see every single streak, and it clings to hair on the face, making your face look extremely hairy where otherwise it wouldn't. So fun times. I just am not a fan of this really at all. And after I blended it down the neck there, you can probably tell that it's not the same color as the rest of me. The Serum foundation, I didn't have this problem really, other than it being a little yellow, but here you can tell that that's not the same color as the rest of me. With the brush, it looks very dry and cakey on the forehead. And again, all around, very unimpressed. Here's a close-up of my face. The right side is done with the sponge. And the left side was done with the brush. And I think you can even tell how much hairier this side looks versus the other. Ugh. So this is what it looks like after 8 to 9 hours. It's creasing a little bit below my lip, and it's emphasizing lines again, just like the Serum foundation, only now it's emphasizing pores as well, which doesn't get fixed when you use a primer. I've tried, believe me. And up to the forehead here, I do have some bumps on my forehead, which you can see, but it's caked up a lot. I'm just kind of showing you different expressions so you can see the lines forming. This side is where the hair is showing a lot, because this is the side I did with the brush. It's just, in my opinion, it does not look good at all. There it is, caking under my lip. top of my lip. Around the nose, it's starting to look really dry and gross. It's just not looking great. And here it is from a distance. From a distance, it looks not too bad, but once you get up close, I hate it.
So the Serum foundation, obviously, I prefer that over the coverage foundation. However, I tried it about 3 times before filming the wear test. The first time it was fine. The second time, after I removed my makeup, I had a bit of a rash in this area, which I'll show a photo of. And I'm not sure what happened. This was the only time when wearing this foundation that this occurred, and I didn't do anything differently, so I'm not sure what happened. And that rash stayed for a little while, and then the next morning I woke up and there were whiteheads in that area instead of the rash. It was a one-time thing. I'm not sure if it was the foundation or not. You'd think if it was the foundation it would keep happening, and it didn't. But it's just something I want to tell you. Now, the coverage foundation, I forgot to mention that it is not anywhere near the same kind of transfer proof that the Serum foundation is. Like, it wears off of your face very, very easily. It's weird because it looks more dry than the Serum foundation, but at the same time it feels kind of oily, and it comes off in weird patches, and it almost kind of, one of the times I was wearing it, it seems to oxidize in weird spots, which I wasn't able to get a good photo of, but anyway, it was strange. And both of these come in 21 shades, by the way. Here's what the color range looks like. This is from their website. 21 shades is not a bad shade range, but it's disproportionately off in terms of the light shades and light medium shades in comparison to the deep shades, especially if you look at the swatch video that Beauty News did. It's still a little bit off, in my opinion. They could do a little bit better there. Just something to note again. But I'm going to do some swatches for you. The first thing I want to do is show you the Serum foundation next to the NYX Total Control Drop foundation because they are very similar consistency. So here they are here. The Ordinary one is here and the NYX one is here. You can see how liquidy they both are. And you're supposed to shake both of them. The NYX one might appear slightly runnier. I might have put a little bit more on than the Ordinary one. But you can see what I mean, that the Ordinary is a warm yellow and NYX is a cool yellow. The NYX one is more wearable for me, but because they are both about the same coverage, like I said in the video, it's not that noticeable. And that's what they look like when I blend them a little bit. And then there's the coverage foundation at the end here. So you can see there's actually a color difference between the same shade in both ranges. So here are some swatches for you. This is the NYX Total Control Drop Foundation in Pale. This is the Ordinary Serum Foundation in 1.0 N. This is the Ordinary Coverage Foundation in 1.0 N. This is the Josie Maran Vibrancy Foundation in RG5 Dynamic. This is the Fenty Beauty Pro Filter Foundation in 100. And this is the Kat Von D Lock-it Foundation in Light Neutral 41. So you could see how much darker some of these are as compared to others. This one is the most compatible. I would say it's just slightly too pink for me. So I hope that you have found this review helpful. If you've tried either of these, let me know what you thought down below, and I will see you in my next review. Bye, guys.